Saying that billionaires should not exist is extremely lazy and also very unproductive. Look, number one, I want to point this out. The billionaire cutoff is extremely vague and it's just logically inconsistent. If your argument, and I do want to preface this, I do think this is a strong argument. If your argument is that no one should have that level of wealth when we have homeless veterans, when we have children that are starving, when we have people that can't get basic healthcare needs met, if that is your argument, that people should not be living luxury lifestyles when we have people that are homeless, that is a fair argument. That is a logically consistent argument. But the cutoff should not be at a billion. The cutoff should be at 150,000, 250,000. And now that's where we get into, okay, now that it's affecting you personally, now that you have to foot part of the bill to get homeless veterans off the street, now you're not part of it. Now because your taxes doubled, now you're no longer invested. So only the billionaires, only the millionaires, only the people worth $750,000, they have to give up some of their luxury, but you don't have to give up any of yours. If you want to give up some of yours, if you think that no one should be able to have more than $250,000 and everyone's basic needs should be met regardless of their circumstances, that's a logically consistent argument. But that is not the argument that I hear. There shouldn't be millionaires. If that is legitimately your point, then millionaires should not exist either. Now, with that aside, with that logical contradiction that I generally see aside, I do want to point out how I just flat out disagree. I fully believe that there are people within the global economic marketplace that can solve a problem that is worth well over $1 billion collectively to the entire planet. For example, Elon Musk with Starlink. Look, I think Elon Musk is a dumbass. He's an idiot. Every time he opens his mouth, he gets dumber and dumber. But whether it's him, whether it's his helpers, his engineers, Starlink is amazing. He's gotten internet to a lot of rural areas in Virginia. Virginia is one of the states, but inside of the United States, as well as in countries in Africa and South America, he's gotten internet to pretty much everywhere within the world, which I think is 100% a $1 billion invention. Nobody in the Congo that just got internet for the first time is complaining. Nobody in rural West Virginia is complaining. Obviously, he's made a lot of money, so he's not complaining. The engineers are not complaining. The shareholders are not complaining. Everybody wins when you do something like that. NVIDIA, the biggest company in the world right now from a market cap standpoint, the CEO is a multi-billionaire. His employees make $175,000 on average. The shareholders make a lot. I'm a shareholder. Everybody wins. I don't see who NVIDIA is hurting. Electronics are getting cheaper and cheaper because he is getting more efficient at making semiconductors. So I think everybody is winning. An example of a billionaire and a big company that I do think is immoral to a degree is Walmart. Look, when you're working 40 hours a week and your employees need to ask the government for money, for help, for food, that is immoral. I don't think your company should be worth $500 billion and you should be worth as a family $200 billion when your employees can't even eat when they work full-time. I do think that is immoral for sure. But to just paint all billionaires, to paint all companies, to paint all inventions, and even if you don't think Starlink, and even if you don't think NVIDIA are solving a big enough problem to be worth $1 billion, what if I solved cancer? Would that be worth $1 billion? Because I'm pretty sure everybody that's dying of cancer, everybody that has died of cancer, everybody that's a loved one that's died of cancer, I'm pretty sure they would all think I should be very well compensated. If you're going to die of cancer and I come to you with a cure, you would give me everything you had for the cure. You'd give me everything. Now, I'm not asking for all the global wealth. I'm not asking to have every single dollar. But to say that somebody that solves a massive problem shouldn't be compensated, I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, honestly. And I do think it is a bit hypocritical that we take advantage of, especially in the United States, we take advantage of the billionaire, and I know technically a lot of these people weren't billionaires, but on a inflation-adjusted basis, the Rockefellers, the Henry Fords, the people that put ACs in homes, all the people that were extremely wealthy because they had a massive company that solved a massive problem, like AC, like cars, like trains, like lights. Are we going to retroactively go back in time and cut off their money and say, you know what? We don't want any innovation. Because at the end of the day, if no one is getting compensated, What's the point in innovating? What's the point in spending 128 hours doing research per week and building a company and doing all this if you can't even make any money? If the only money you can make, if it caps out at $125,000 is the most amount of money you can make in a year, why would anyone work and do all this research and do all this to invent something insane? It just doesn't make sense. So I think number one, it's hypocritical because everyone is taking advantage of billionaire creations. And I also do think that it's just unproductive. I mean, realistically, are we legitimately going to do a billionaire tax of 100%? I don't think it's going to happen. I think what's most practical in this situation would be to give labor more power, whether that is through forced unions of some sort, a raised minimum wage, more breaks, more vacation time. You can help labor, you can help employees without just putting a blanket over every rich person just saying you're bad. It's like we need to, number one, incentivize innovation, incentivize people solving problems, but at the same time, make sure the employees at the companies are not being preyed upon in predatory situations, like a Walmart employee, like a McDonald's employee, like coal workers. We can do both things. We can help workers. We can make laws that are going to be beneficial to workers, which we should do. Most billionaires do have too much power over their workers, and they, like Elon Musk, will squash unions. That's an issue. I can hold two opinions at the same time. I can say Elon Musk is very bad towards his employees at Tesla, which when he won't let them unionize, when he will fire them if they unionize. But I can also acknowledge that he solved a big problem. Two things can be true at once. He can be an immoral person, but he can also solve a problem that we enjoy. So I think it's just lazy, and I think if you are trying to support the average person, I think it's much better done when focusing on labor relations and giving labor more